Can you hear us, Ms. Weber?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Ready? Okay, it's 10:27 a.m. I'd like to call to order a meeting of the Housing Authority of Travis County. May I have a roll call, please?
Chair Jimmy Paver,
Present.
Vice Chair Cheryl Brown,
Present.
Commissioner Wilmer Roberts,
Present.
Commissioner Rebecca Weber,
Present.
Commissioner Jan Winning.
We have one.
Okay. Public forum, citizen communication. Is there anyone here who would like to discuss or comment on items directly related to the HATC?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Item number 3 is the consent agenda. And this is a motion to approve the minutes from the October 17th, 2023 special meeting. The December 7th, 2023 regular meeting, and the approval of the minutes from the January 4th, 2024 annual meeting.
No motion to approve.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair, point of order. I have an opportunity to discuss, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So is there a way that I can pull something off the consent agenda?
Yes.
Okay. I believe the October 17th, 2023 minutes need to be pulled off the consent agenda, given the continuing confusion and lack of answers about how we said
So,
we had a quorum when we didn't.
right,
And
'cause
I also
I talked
wasn't
to
the
Mr.
January. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I talked to Mr. Plummer about this yesterday.
Mhm.
He's notarized those meeting minutes to say that no action was taken because we didn't have a quorum. The only reason that he opted not to remove them from the consent agenda was to not give the appearance of impropriety that we were hiding anything. We had a meeting, we didn't have a quorum, no action was taken, but the meeting minutes remain on the agenda just as a matter of public record. So that was his take on this. So I just provide that as an explanation for, I don't know if that.
It's the agenda.
Oh, I'll leave. I
How
don't know if
many
that'll leave.
people need to vote to take something off the consent agenda? I'm making that motion. Is it need to be a vote or?
Motion on the floor already, and I call for the questions.
To go into this.
So, according to Robert's Rules of Order, if someone wants to pull something off the consent agenda, then you would approve the consent agenda minus the items that they want to pull.
Okay.
The agenda's on there too.
Yes, yes, right there.
But also according to Robert Rules of Order, that meeting minutes should also be reviewed. And if there are any changes, then those changes should be noted to the meeting minutes. I believe when I read through the meeting minutes, those meeting minutes reflected everything that transpired during that meeting. So my point is, if you are going to remove the meeting minutes, then there needs to be some corrections that are submitted and submitted for correction and changes to those meetings, because the meeting minutes still we've had a meeting. It has to be approved at some point. So what are the corrections?
So what I'm saying is that you're not pulling the minutes, you're just removing them from consent, which means you discuss. Consent means you vote with no discussion. So what essentially would happen is you would approve item B and C on the consent, and then you would discuss item A, as
Okay.
you're doing right now.
Okay. So if somebody will make a motion to approve B and C,
That's so moved.
I second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I need to abstain because I wasn't at the January 4th meeting.
Okay.
But you're at the December 2nd.
Well, I mean, things are moving very quickly. I was trying to say that I also would have pulled C off the consent agenda, and that way I could have approved the December ones, but at this point, I'm abstaining from the consent agenda.
That's fine.
So the motion to approve B and C is passed.
Yes.
So.
Okay, so do we have now the discussion about these minutes?
Now you're at discussing item A.
Okay. So I've presented what Mr. Plummer has told me about these minutes, and I don't know, further discussion, Ms. Weber?
Just that I continue to have a lot of concerns that
Mhm.
we purported to pass resolutions, that they were signed by Mr. Howard and the chair at the time, and that they were posted to our website. That was so wholly improper, that I have great concerns. So here on our minutes now, it says HUD Office of Public Housing San Antonio was aware of such. What were they aware of? Were our state regulators made aware that we had posted improper misrepresentations to the public on our website based on this meeting? So the red on here is not enough. That, you know, I appreciate that we're trying to be more transparent, but we can't just take, you know, just take it at face value that HUD was aware. I haven't seen any correspondence from them saying this was okay. It was okay to post resolutions that were improperly signed to our website. So, you know, we have to be more careful about following rules when we have money, you know, coming to us and support coming to us from other, you know, from government agencies that expect us to follow, you know, the rules when it comes to quorums. So, I appreciate that a note has been added. It has been determined that this meeting was not held properly because a quorum was only available by video conference and not present in person. Who determined that? Who wrote this message? Now I hear now that it was Plummer, but like, it's not enough this is not enough to fix this problem. And for that reason, I would vote that we do not approve these minutes.
So my position is meeting minutes are to document the occurrence of the meeting. It is not to dictate how the meeting is conducted. The purpose of the meeting minutes is basically recording of what transpired. Now, if you have a disagreement of the process and procedures in which we followed, that is different than documenting the content of the meeting. And that is what meeting minutes do. So my proposal is that we have recorded what was conducted in the meeting, whether the process was followed properly or not is an independent position of what the meeting minutes states. So the meeting minutes are an exact recording of what transpired.
The meeting minutes say, note, it has been determined that this meeting was not held properly. I want to know who determined that. You can't just put a note on minutes. You know, there needs to be more information. These are the minutes that have been presented to us on a consent agenda, now up for discussion, say on them, it has been determined that this meeting was not held properly. And I'm asking that this note, that someone needs to, like, some person needs to own this note, who wrote this note, and we need more information about who determined the meeting was not held properly. And I do not agree that we can vote that HUD was aware of and authorized this. We aren't aware of that as a board. We have not been informed about that. So, I mean, I would agree with you in general, but unfortunately, we have a big red blah, blah, blah right at the top of these minutes. And so if we're going to do that, we need to do it properly.
I'll put a question.
There was no motion.
I'm sorry, I can't hear.
And make a motion to approve these minutes? No? Could we table this
Because
discussion?
you pulled them off and you moved them, that you provided a substitute motion.
I'd like to know what a sufficient resolution to your question would be. Do you want a name? Do you want a name put to this note? What puts this issue to bed for you?
the agenda item that I requested, from the prior chair and from you, that would be a briefing about how, we came to be presented with fraudulent minutes, how board resolutions came to be signed by Mr. Howard and the chair at the time and posted to our website, which was a misrepresentation to the public, to our appointers, to our state and federal regulators about what we have properly done. And I asked for some indication that our regulators had been informed of this and that they understood that we had fixed it. I asked for this. I've asked both chairs, the 2023 chair and the 2024 chair, to put this on the agenda to get a briefing to understand what happened and what was done to fix it.
Okay,
So a motion has been made to pull the minutes from the agenda
No,
and.
ma'am, the motion was, okay, let me just clarify what happened. So with any meeting, consent agenda means that you have no discussion about the item. If you want to discuss an item, you pull it from the consent agenda and you put it on the regular agenda. Essentially, this was put on the regular agenda for discussion. You've discussed, so at this point now, you can call for a motion to approve the.
That's what I just did.
Right, well, he said he called for question, and that's the only thing.
I just.
Okay, I'm
said
sorry.
it.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So now there's a motion.
I hope a motion to table this and put it on the next month's agenda.
or you can move to approve the minutes.
Yeah, and just deal with her satisfaction and get it all clear enough to where she wants it. And if she'll write that, put that in writing, whatever she wants, I think we can do it. That's my motion.
I'll second that motion, and I have put it in writing. I asked for the agenda item under the 2023 chair, and I asked for it under the 2024 chair, so it is in writing.
I don't think the extent to which you just explained it is in writing with me.
And it wasn't with me either. So if that is,
I will
The
I will
motion.
forward emails and can clarify anything, but I disagree that I haven't asked for this repeatedly in writing.
Not as extensively as you just asked for it verbally. I have a 3-sentence email from you. And that's all I've got.
And we had a phone call where I tried to bring this to the governance committee and you told me not to.
If you, look, outlining exactly what you want to hear and exactly what you want to have clarified in an email is something that we are absolutely willing to address.
Okay, I will re-forward to you the email that I sent. I assumed that, there was some kind of continuity as far as the leadership, and that, I did explicitly ask for this under the prior chair. I will make sure that I forward that to you.
Okay, thank you.
So I just might want to make you all aware, violations of Open Meetings Act are governed by the Attorney General's office. So as we described, the issue related to HUD has been ameliorated and the item has been moved forward. And we do have correspondence from HUD accepting the document subsequently. So the issue related to the violation of the Open Meetings Act with the meeting not receiving a quorum, having a quorum, is an issue to be taken up with the Attorney General's office if someone has an issue with any meeting, public meeting in the state of Texas whereby you believe that something was violated.
I appreciate that, Mr. Howard, but I have asked for this issue to be brought up by this board, and I have asked in writing, and as Mr. Paver says, I will forward it to him, but I don't think that the right answer to, we really messed up. We signed resolutions that had not been passed and posted them publicly is to go to the Attorney General. I think we need to discuss what happened and what was done to fix it.
Call for the portion. There's a motion on the floor. Table.
Okay, so table the minutes.
Okay.
This is unbelievable. I can't do this, Chair. Just a second.
I second.
All those in favor?
Second it.
Oh,
Rebecca
you did,
seconded it.
Oh, that's right. you got it.
All right, all those in favor, aye.
I
We're moving on to item 4. Discussion item, summary of legal opinion on recent solicitations. This is the memo that has been.
Sure, yeah,
distributed.
so there was some question about the solicitations that were, the solicitation for the big contract. In addition to the solicitation for HUD, I think we're gonna have to send that Debbie to Ms. Faber, Ms.
Whoever
Weber.
needs to get it, yeah.
We need to forward that to Ms. Weber.
What,
This time you got here.
okay,
It's on your.
I don't have my.
Okay. Okay, so I have a synopsis and I will follow it up with documentation. So as it relates to those solicitations, as you all aware, non-federal money is not subject to federal procurement rules. The funds that were utilized for the big contract actually is with the HATC Foundation. So it is not subject to procurement rules. However, we did do an informal solicitation. And that was conducted and we chose Big
I'm sorry.
Austin.
Is there a document that goes with this item?
Yes, it should be, they're emailing it to you now.
Well,
It should be
we
posted
just
to Boardable so that the public can see it.
so I'm sorry. Got it this morning. We got it this morning and so.
Okay, will it be posted to Boardable today?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Debbie's doing it. Okay,
Is someone emailing it to me?
Brief summary, please.
you talking
You
about?
might give a brief summary.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Okay.
Go on.
So as I was saying, the.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear. Is
HATC
someone emailing this to me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, should I have it? Because I don't have it yet.
With the firewall, it's probably gonna be like 3 minutes. We can wait until we make sure you receive it though.
Yeah, I think that would make sense. Or we need to table this until, it can be properly
Yeah,
put up. I mean,
Okay, can we move to the next item, please? Table this.
I would vote to table it.
okay,
Is there any question for Christine? Because I really
No.
want to go to the affordable housing program.
Okay,
okay. You're good, Christina? Okay.
Are there
We're
any
good.
questions for Christina before we skip her?
Do we need to make a motion to table the fourth item now?
You just skip it and then you can.
Okay, fine. Are there any questions for Christina? We want to move on down the line. None? Okay. Let's go to the affordable housing programs, Carlos Guzman.
So Carlos is not here, but we do have, Carlton on the line. But you'll pull up the presentation, the report, I'm sorry.
Here, yeah. Board reports?
No,
Go to
there,
HATC, the full. board members. It's again,
Okay, we'll have to share it first.
people are not supposed to do this. Wait, go back. And
What?
right. There,
That's a.
I think, go down and look them. You have to turn it. Here's your- Right there.
okay. Miranda, would you like me to provide a intro? Larry, I guess you're all together.
Miranda is
Yeah?
a member of the public that is watching watching the meeting.
Sorry, but Larry, I'm sorry, Larry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Sorry, Larry.
I don't think he's on.
Larry, are you on? Is Carlson on? Okay, All right, I will go through the process. Okay. So as you all know, we've identified some priorities, you know, as we've been discussing for months. Primarily, of first importance is the compliance requirements that were sorely lacking. And then we're talking about delinquencies and the like, and then obviously making sure that units are ready so that we can lease those. So let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so in recent months, this is kind of some of what we've been able to accomplish. We did augment the Carlson staff with a consultant for a short period of time. We were able to complete the research that Maynardtown. The research are complete at Carson as well. We got a letter from TDHCA and reviewing that. We also completed those deficiencies that were identified for Eastern. We've submitted and got approval for the OCAF, which essentially is the inflation adjustment for the rent subsidy. We have the units ready all at Eastern. We're just looking for worthy candidates. And similarly at Alexander as well. We're working on the research at Alexander and Eastern, and we have applicants ready to move in. So if they were online, they would talk about some of the efforts made to look at filling those units and continue to do that work. So we'll move on to the next slide. So this is a graphic depiction of sort of the trend of occupancy over time. As you can see, CRAG, Sea Oaks, Alexander Summit, Eastern, in terms of the trend relative to occupancy. As you can see, Maynardtown occupancy has been fairly consistent. As you see at Sea Oaks, it's had trended down in a couple months, but now we're trending back up. And similarly, we've sort of flatlined at CRAD, which is Eastern, so we're kind of working through those issues, but that's kind of where we are today. Move to the next slide. So delinquencies, as you can see, the delinquencies had spiked for a period, but again, due to the great work of Carlson, we've been able to sort of get a handle on that. I think one thing that is
What happened at Sea Oaks?
so there was a spike in delinquencies. I think this was during a
Over a
period.
month? Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
Yeah, so I mean, should we do want to share anything?
The delinquencies in the last couple of years has been going up at Sea Oaks. You know, we had staff here who are probably had too much, you know, too many things to do at the same time, and we converted to RAD, which had, you know, its own requirements, and we really didn't have the skill set because they have their own compliance requirements, which are very, very complex. And you know, it's because we came from public housing. These properties were public housing, Eastern and Sea Oaks were public housing, and we converted to RAD, and one of them was tax credit, and tax credit has got its own compliance, and it's all kind of very difficult it takes years to you know, to master that, and you know, just trying to keep up with things with all these filings and stuff, and some things got dropped, and one of them was the recertifications. And, you know, tenants were not recertified correctly or in a timely manner. And the delinquencies kept going up. So
it's a timing issue.
So let me just say this. So delinquencies,
$100,000
there's something we said about delinquency. So delinquencies sometimes lend itself. So most organizations post-COVID had experienced a spike in delinquency because people aren't paying rent, and now we're saying, hey, you have to pay. And so The good thing is that it's flatlining because we have the intervention of Carson. And if you can see for a period, the first few months of them being on board, it still continued to spike. And then in December, November, December, it significantly decreased. So what we're talking about here is where
Didn't
we
we
are
just
now.
write all this off? We didn't actually get the money that was owed us, right?
That is-
We just realized
Yes,
we'll
we're not-
never be able to get it.
That is correct. That is absolutely correct. You're so right.
Yeah.
So we're talking about, yes, that is correct.
And
So
how much money did we not get through the lack of timely certifications from HUD? Do we know how much money we left on the table? And then do we know, same question with the delinquencies, how much money, are we talking about that we mismanaged as as an organization? This is money that we should have been collecting from the federal government and from our tenants, right? Do we have an idea of how much we lost?
it's a catch 22.
Did we really mismanage?
No, not necessarily. No.
I think we need to be careful
Yeah.
about the terms that we use.
So we want to qualify that. But when residents weren't being charged rent and we weren't collecting rent.
I'm
we
just
weren't
asking for a
charged-
total. Do we know how much we left on the table because of recertifications from HUD? And do we know how much rent we are writing off completely?
140,000.
Is that
How
just Sea Oaks or is that across our portfolio?
Yes.
So
We're talking about the
do
blue.
we have totals for both categories for all of our portfolio?
It's much smaller for Eastern. I think it was only 17,000 or something.
Super, just get the numbers and
Will do.
report back if you would.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's another one of these follow-on issues.
Yeah.
Sure.
The-
Yeah.
And
but-
again, so understand
And do
that.
we have a
rent-
total for the money that we never asked HUD for? Do we know how much that is? I think Carlton is on the line. Is Carlton on the line? Maybe they can help us with this. Can they speak?
I can probably get that number, but again, this is not out of the ordinary. If you look at the Hawkers,
Wait,
what
I'm sorry.
Hawker,
Carlton raised this with us in September. So we still don't know how much money we're talking about?
So we will get that from Carlton, as Carlton is the one collecting that information for us.
They're
Unfortunately,
on the
we
line, right? Can we ask them?
asked and no one's responding, so they must not be on the line.
Oh, I see someone, Lopez J11 and Gerald T. Are they from Carlton?
We'll
Those
take
are
that
two
next
staff
time.
members from
We don't
Housing
have an
Authority.
answer right now, so we're gonna table it. We'll put this on the card as something that we'll get the answer for, and we'll bring it back. So can
Okay,
we
do
move on?
I also need to put that in writing, Chair, or is my agenda request noted?
You know what, in writing and in advance of the meeting, so that we can have these answers to your questions on the spot. Would
But
be
is
really
my
helpful.
agenda request for the March meeting now noted, or do I need to also put it in writing?
That would be helpful too. Whatever you choose to put in writing would be helpful.
Okay, and just to be clear, I am simply asking for the total amount we lost out on from HUD through failure to recertify our residents, and the total amount we lost out in rent through failure to, keep our books in a way that would allow us to collect the rent that is owed to us. But I will put that in writing.
Thank you.
Put it in writing, thank you, okay. Anything else here for affordable housing programs? If not, let's go to real estate
I
development.
think I don't think.
I mean, I can just answer questions.
We don't have time.
Right.
We've got to leave in 5 minutes.
I'm
My
not-
question would be, what are we doing to fix Carson Creek? And when are we doing it? Because I toured those properties with Carlos in Jan, and I was shocked and dismayed at what we saw and what Carlos told us about the fact that this board have known for 3 years that those houses were unsanitary and unsafe. And we haven't done anything about it. And we finally get it in writing from Carlton, and we're still not doing anything about it. It's not okay. We have to fix that housing. It's not okay. So I would like to
So
know
that,
what you're doing to fix
yeah,
that.
that,
Yeah.
Carlson made a assessment, and unfortunately they're not online. They identified the concerns that they have about the condition of properties. We then went out and got solicited for a PCNA, a needs assessment to be done. That takes several months. That initial work was done last fall, as you were aware of, but we got final numbers within the last 45 days. We have a summary here. We can go down the screen because we have a brief synopsis of those items that they believe we've kind of narrowed down and identified as those things we want to move forward.
So is what you're
let's go.
showing us right now new, or is this the exact same thing that you gave us in January?
I didn't give you anything in January for Carlson.
Yes, you did. You gave us the Carlton report that said that Carson Creek was unsafe and unsanitary.
And I'm saying, okay, a summary of the items that should be addressed with a rough estimate, but I wasn't able to complete my sentence. So that's what we're
But
gonna
what
show
you're
right
showing
now.
us right now, is this a new document or is this the same as the January document? What's on the screen right now?
There was
No.
none in January.
I know that there was no item in January that spoke to an itemized list of issues.
I'm
with rough
simply
estimates.
asking, the document that is being shown to the
course,
public
yeah.
right now on Zoom, is it new or is it from January?
It's new.
Okay. Thank you.
Go ahead.
I wish everyone would stop trying to control. I mean, everyone's talking to me, so I'm just trying to respond. Okay, so Steve, if you would move down on the screen, there's a list.
What list are you?
I mean, it's
A repair, the repair.
the repair is the list of the rough estimate of repairs.
Is this?
Was that C?
I don't know. Oh, where am I?
It's in the
Yes.
staff. I want to see.
Down?
That way. I'll go back.
Okay, so what we have in the document, which is on boardable, are two things. We took a synopsis, the executive summary from the assessment, and we included that. It's about 5 to 6 pages. But
And it is back to.
additionally, what we provided, I think is after that, Debbie,
Yeah,
is
it
a
is.
summary of what we believe are the items that would
It's right.
warrant some immediate attention. And so here we are. Okay. So this is a list, Steve, you just go from the top to the bottom, just let them see like what's all included, 1, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, keep it on.
Will you
Okay.
please provide the board with the 2 reports that were referenced at the top of this page?
They're onboardable, the report is
you.
onboardable.
Both of the reports referenced at the top of this page are onboardable?
What was it that was unsanitary?
I'm quoting from the Carlton report. I'm quoting from the September and the December, January Carlton report. I'm quoting from it.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, what was it, whether you answer it or Carlton answer? I want to know what was unsanitary.
That would be great. Thank you. But may I just get an answer? If you could scroll to the top of this page, I just want to get a confirmation that the October 2023 report has been provided to the board and the December 2023 report has been provided to the board.
Correct.
Yes?
Let's go back to the top.
It's there, I see, it says conducted October 2023 as well as foundation assessment report conducted December 2023, summarizing findings.
So are
Yes, they are.
both of those reports onboardable for the public?
It's not for the public, no ma'am.
So where are those reports?
It's on boardable, but boardable is not available to the public.
Okay. Okay. Are these not public documents or they are?
They're not distributed in public unless someone will request those, but we don't put detailed documents for bidding purposes out on public website because they have the ability to obviously influence outcomes. So those level of details is more than 100 pages. We didn't put on the website, but it is on board. So what we
Okay.
provided is essentially a synopsis here, which is what in the 2 pages here that we're talking about. So this kind of boils it down in essence, in layman's terms, what we're kind of.
So we're
Concept.
talking ungrown, that, can you just go through the list real quick? What is it that we're repairing? And what are the estimated costs?
258,000 go down the bottom stage.
Is the total, 258,000 is the total.
That's correct, 258,000 or so. Now, this does not include potentially relocation. I mean, there's a rough number. Obviously, that is the most, well, I'm sorry, that does not include obviously relocation. We were just talking about the physical improvements and what that might look like. But we believe that this will get us there in terms of what we need to do in the immediate term. The funds are available, and so if the board is so inclined, we can move forward as soon as possible to be able to secure a worthy person to do the work.
I would move that we immediately get these estimates and get this going. I was told by staff that staff is aware that the units in Carson Creek don't have proper fire alarms. Like, and I think I see a line item here, smoke detectors, fire extinguishers. I mean, we need to move immediately. So that's my motion.
Does this estimate include the foundation work that needs to be done on that first unit? Is it up there? I'm not in disagreement that we should move,
So
we should move expeditiously towards fixing these issues.
Number 4. Foundation.
Yeah.
yes, sir. And if, so there's no, there was no vote, but if the consensus is to move forward, I will take action as directed and advised, and we will just move forward.
Okay.
If no one wants to second my motion, that's fine, but I have moved that we direct staff to immediately fix these
Are you-
safety problems. So if no one wants to second it, that's fine, but I have made a motion.
Is there, did you not listen, Ms. Weber? Mr. Howard just said there's no motion or no action item required. All you have to do is with the consensus, he can
If-
move forward.
I would like the record to reflect that I made a motion. If no one wants to second it, that's fine.
The
Jimmy,
board
I
chair
would-
directed.
Yes. So she made a motion, the motion is on the floor. I second.
Okay, ma'am, so items that aren't posted for action, I
We
hear
don't
what you're
vote
all.
on, right? Is that what
The
you're
board
saying?
has given me direction, similar to what I do at planning commission. We give city council direction, but we can't, there's certain
Okay,
purview.
so let's move on. You got the.
So we,
chance to
I
go.
think, yes, I have, it is, it's reflected in the minutes. It is
Right,
recorded.
and I want to make note too, on record, that Jenny and I also visited the properties, and I did not find it appalling. I felt that there were things that needed to be improved. I grew up in a neighborhood like that. It was not unsanitary. Those people did not allow us in the house. They did not qualify in any way that it was unsanitary. So I just want it to be on record as well, that I think that there are improvements that need to be made and attention that needs to be given to those properties. But I would not qualify them or categorize them as unsanitary. And in addition to that, we spoke with several of the tenants who live there in person, and they are very happy with where they are and how they're living. So there was no dissatisfaction that we heard from any person that we spoke to.
I agree, and I've also heard the characterization that these units were deplorable. I did not find that to be the case. We talked to 3 residents. We're very happy with their accommodations. There are improvements that need to be made. and we will address them post haste. So that said, I think we can move on, hopefully.
And I just want to clarify that the word unsanitary came from the report that was presented to us, the board, in September, and it appeared again in the report that was presented to us, the board, in January.
Right, and it is Carlton's responsibility to, and to be honest, if it was that, then they should have taken action to,
Right.
to.
Well,
make it,
the thing that I
But if they're
qualify,
not, then we need to talk to them about it. Like, if they aren't doing what we're paying them to do, then we need to do something about that.
Well, my point is this, before we go out and repeat and tarnish the name of HATC, we need to validate and verify what it is that they're saying is true as well, instead of repeating it and taking it forward and taking it to the commissioner's court.
I went and looked at it myself.
You
I
all-
mean, what more, as a board, we need to make sure that we are giving people dignified places to live. And we
spoke with the-
hired a property manager that is telling us that these units are unsafe and unsanitary. And
There any
so if it's their fault, then we need to say to them, fix this.
action items we need to deal with today? Mr. Howard, is there
Do
any
we-
action items we need to deal with today?
I just want to bring up a couple things. We are going to be, putting out a solicitation for, legal counsel. As you know, we were sharing counsel with strategic, general counsel instead of transactional counsel. And obviously we've had a void in terms of what their capabilities and concerns. So we as an organization do need, counsel. We've been hiring folks to sort of ad lib as needed, but we'd like to do a full-blown solicitation in order to identify, individuals who can work on behalf of the organization. So that is in the works.
Okay,
Do you need that for action? Okay.
okay. Are there any board committee reports? I've none, new and unfinished business. I just have a couple of updates, follow-ups from our prior meetings, that we've discussed as a committee. The first one is the CEO evaluation. I just want everybody to know that we'll have a standardized plan to you by the end of the second quarter for everybody to evaluate and have input about prior to the next CEO performance evaluation. So we're looking to standardize this practice so there's no questions and everything can be above board. We've had the establishment of private emails so that people can have that done. We are seeking a legal opinion about the presence of the attorney at the CEO's evaluation meeting. We'll get back to you on that. It's my intent that we will have regular trainings starting in March on parliamentary procedure, open meetings, commissioners' do's and don'ts. And so we'll be looking to get all those things on the schedule. And my last item is the status of the investigation of Mr. Howard's claim against Mrs. Weber. I had a meeting yesterday with the attorney that HATC's hired, Pat Richter, and just as a timeline evaluation, he hopes to have the conclusions of his investigation to us by the second week in February. So hopefully we can resolve that quickly as well. So those are all of my updates. If anybody else has new and unfinished business.
I'm sorry, Chair, one thing.
Yeah.
As it relates to, March, you all were okay with the idea, to start the meeting, 30 minutes early so that our, facilitator can conduct the training, towards the end of the meeting. So that would mean next month's meeting will start at 9 and not 9:30.
Okay.
And maybe we need to allocate time for that and everybody to be there. What's the additional?
Well, ideally, if we typically end the meeting at 10:30, we're hoping that we'll make that happen all within the same time with an additional 30 minutes.
May I ask that we not post two meetings to start at the exact same time, because it causes a lot of confusion about which one is going first? Can we post one for 9 and one for 9:30 or however?
Yeah, sure. Is that all right?
So the reason why that's done is because there is, at the time, unless the chair is gonna decide ahead of time, the meeting means time certain that it cannot start before 9:30. But you have the latitude based on the agenda and outside guests, how you determine which meeting starts first. And you're composed of the same membership, and that's the reason why you've always posted both meetings with the latitude of having one meeting prior to the other based on the needs of the organization, as in you need a quorum, you don't need a physical quorum, or there is an outside speaker that actually is participating or not participating. So you could elect to do that, but you will forego that ability in some cases to have the latitude of deciding the meeting which meeting goes first.
Yeah, I think it's better just to have it be clear. I mean, like, I was in the wrong meeting this morning, you know, like I was in the HATC meeting and y'all were doing the facilities court meeting.
Yeah.
I think it
I
would
don't
be better just to let people know one meeting is gonna go first and the second meeting is gonna go second, and our vendors can just get here. I'm really disappointed that Carlton didn't appear today. And I don't think that's because of any question about how the meeting was posted.
I agree that it's okay to post two separate meetings, and I'm okay losing that latitude.
Okay,
If
duly noted.
thank you. Okay, and any other issues? Any reason to go into an executive session? Hearing none, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
A second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Chair.